Buenos tardes, bonsoir, niha, assalamu alaikum, namaste, bienvenidos, bienvenue, Paula. Good afternoon.
And buongiorno in Italian.
So it's business. So it's good to know a little bit of language, and I know you speak what, 5 languages, Paula?
I speak 4 fluent, and I get around with 2 more, with Portuguese and German that I studied, but those are a bit more difficult for me. But 4 fluent, yes.
So I'm grateful for you to join me this afternoon. What I'd like to do first, Paula, is go through and get a little bit a background from you. I know you have a very diverse background: Italian, Egyptian, Canadian, in addition to speaking those languages. And tell us a little bit about Paula, who Paula Barrera Isaac is, where you originated from, how you end up in Florida, and how you end up running this international department for Broward County.
Thank you so much. Well, my name is Paula Isaac Baraya. So I was born in Montreal, Canada, and I moved here about a little bit over 20 years ago. My background is I studied international trade and marketing in Canada. I did my bachelor's at McGill University and my master's at the University of Montreal, but they have a division from Paris for the top business school in Paris that is in Montreal. So my first language is French, as we both speak French. The official language in Quebec is French, and I grew up in an Italian-Egyptian family. My father's from Egypt, from Cairo, and my mom is from the south of Italy, Naples, Italy. So multicultural math background where we spoke French and Italian at home. So that's how I know those 2 of my fluent languages. And then I moved here to South Florida, and my passion was always international trade and connect the world, to do business, to create peace. And so I started my career in this particular field. I was executive director of the Sister Cities program for Fort Lauderdale. And Sister Cities was, for those who don't know, was founded by President Eisenhower after the Second World War.
1952. That's when I first met you, when you were at Fort Lauderdale.
Yes, exactly. That's when we first met. So I had a previous background as well in the private sector, but mainly my let's say over 15 years of experience in the public and public-private sector started about 15 years ago with the city of Fort Lauderdale when I was executive director of their Sister Cities program. And as I was mentioning, Sister Cities there to create peace and friendship between cities around the world. And city of Fort Lauderdale has 19 sister cities around the world, which is very exciting. As you know, Fort Lauderdale is the Venice of America. So Venice is one of our cities in Italy, but we have many other cities that we have done so many programs and award-winning programs that we won in the headquarters of Sister Cities in Washington, D.C. And they gave us an award for sustainability programs we had, humanitarian programs we did with Haiti, or educational, or even economic. So it's a great organization. And then from there, I moved on to being the international trade investment specialist at the Greater Fort Lauderdale Alliance. And that is a public-private partnership with Broward County.
Yes, we fund them. So Paula, the county funds the Fort Lauderdale Alliance, the Greater Fort Lauderdale Alliance. And we're going to talk about trade in a few minutes, but it would be good for those in business to connect with the Greater Fort Lauderdale Alliance. Tell them a little bit about what they do. They have cities involved, they have the private sector involved, they have the colleges and university involved. Talk a little bit about that, Greater Fort Lauderdale Alliance.
Yes, most definitely. It's a great public-private organization that is here to promote Broward County as the best place to do business. And they're in charge of attracting for us high-paying jobs from the targeted sector. So the state of Florida has targeted sectors such as life sciences, which include pharmaceutical, biotechnology, and medical device. We also have technology itself. We have aviation and aerospace, clean tech, manufacturing, professional services, certain professional services that we're trying to grow these industries to have a diverse economy, but also create high paying jobs for the citizens of Broward County. So the alliance is there to help us attract these businesses from other states, from other countries that are coming here. And while I was there, I was in charge of international, so attracting foreign direct investment. It's called, like, for example, we had a big pharmaceutical company that moved from Canada and created here 100 jobs, but we want them to be good quality jobs for our qualified workforce. And they also work on, training the workforce, having specific grants for training the businesses that are here. So it's not just attracting new businesses, but also helping the current existing businesses that we have in the county to grow even further. And so that was my role there.
So I sat on that board for a while also as the mayor of Broward County, and interfaced with them even before I got elected to the county commission. The workforce development piece that they partner with Career Source is a big piece, and a part of what I'd pushed for over the years was to ensure that our smaller businesses participate in these ventures when we attract them to Broward County, and change the dynamics of so many people being left out. And certainly when these jobs come, many are high paying, but the folks here need skill development. So that's a huge piece of what we were able to help push for and got done in Broward County. That's why we have oftentimes the lowest unemployment rate in the state of Florida, and our economy strong and rebound so swiftly here in Broward County. So somehow after that, when I got to the county, you joined a little bit later. We had what we said was an international department that wasn't really that robust. So we got to take you away from the alliance to join the county to be a part of what we're doing there. And in 2015, we started FITCE, Florida's International Trade and Cultural Expo, bringing you in on board to help me with that. We started with a very small group. I think it was about 7 of us that met in my conference, in my office in the county at my little table. And we fathom a way forward with FITCE. We built an entity that is now reportedly the largest event in the Southeast United States for international trade, winning a presidential award for that in Washington, D.C. You and I were there to receive that award a few years ago from Secretary Ross. At the time was really, really something else for us to being able to achieve such a great thing with so little resources to start. At the start, we didn't have much money. I had to go raise the money, and I know we're still looking to raise money for it to continue to grow it. But let me ask you a bit about you talk about international trade contributing to peace and prosperity, which is the main reason I really engage and put so much effort behind putting FITCE together, because I know how transformative trade can be in helping the economy here in the United States and the economy around the world. And you're not going to get into this because work for the government. I'm political. You're not. But what the Biden administration has done with moving the needle on international trade is huge, and somewhat balancing, or at least attempting to balance the dominance that China have on international trade around the world. He put $200 billion in place to help developing countries find money to build their infrastructure, roads, bridges, ports, airports, and the like, so that they no longer have to rely just on China to do that, who sometimes don't always have fair trade in mind when they do many of these things. But I want you to talk about the peace and prosperity that international trade brings, and any data that you have in terms of the high paying jobs that are created right here in South Florida as a result of that. So go ahead with that for me, please, and fill in where I might have left off in our concept and startup of FITCE from my table in my county commission office.
Yes, definitely. And thank you for giving a background. But just want to reiterate that international trade is a key component of the South Florida economy, especially here in Broward. Broward County owns Port Everglades and the Fort Lauderdale International Airport. And we definitely are pushing to become leaders in logistics. And if you look at a map of all the continents, starting from Canada all the way to South America, really South Florida is in the middle. That's why I remember, of course, when you were our commissioner and our mayor, we were pushing that we are the global hub for the United States. We're a door of entry and exit. So this hence the importance of all the jobs that it creates, from logistics to businesses exporting and importing that are here in our county and in our state. So, and then as well, definitely creating those trade relationships with other countries and creating friendship. It's like in, what I teach companies when, especially through the 11 steps of exporting, is one essence that I teach is that if you want to sell more internationally, then you have to build relationships and you have to build friendships with people from other countries and learn about their culture, because that's how. And sometimes even in business meetings, you'll know about that. We'll talk about sports, we'll talk about the family, and that's how it starts. And then naturally, the
And a
business
few words in their
opportunities.
language doesn't hurt. That's why I try to at least be able to say
Like you said,
hello, thank you, and that kind of stuff. Minimum.
hello, and you every time, I miss that when we used to receive together delegations. We've received so many, and I want to mention that, with thanks to you, former commissioner and mayor Holness, that when you were here, you really started elevating the international trade program. That, as you were right before, were existent, but not enough, and it's important so that we can drive our economic engines and give opportunity to our small businesses to sell even more. So really, you were a catalyst to this, and I was very honored and proud to be by your side to help grow the international trade here in Broward County. Most people knew international trade in Miami, but now Miami looks up to us. They're like, "Oh, we're very impressed by the educational program that you've put together, such as the 11 Steps to Exporting," which was also a reason why we won the presidential award in addition to FITCE. And we won also NACO Awards, National Association of County Awards, for the 11 Steps Exporting Program. Because I don't know if you know this, but less than 1% of businesses in the United States export.
Yes.
It's so low, that percentage, and 95% of the purchasing power is outside of the United States.
Absolutely.
So even if you're a small business, even if you're an entrepreneur, and I know it's difficult, you're struggling to get your business domestically, you might be number one to market in another country. So open your eyes, and that's what we want to do with the Doing Business with the World series. We want to open people's eyes to other countries and see, what can I sell there? How can I do business there? Don't be intimidated. We don't want you to be afraid to get into international markets. And that's also the philosophy of FITCE. FITCE is to bring the whole world right into our backyard. We don't have to take a plane to visit these 60 countries visiting. Imagine, they're coming right here on October 4th and 5th this year. We're going to have it at the Broward County Convention Center. And you can meet with all these countries, build those friendships I was talking about, and learn about importing and exporting. And it's not that intimidating as you think.
So, Paula, I want you to go ahead and give out the website and a phone number that folks who might be interested in, one, showcasing or exhibiting their items for export, and two, to attend the event, to register, and also for young people who are out there, this is an opportunity for you, if you're in college, to basically do a little internship to come out and get some exposure to the world. I know many of the young people that I helped to recruit have grown as a result of being involved with this event. So if you would take a moment here and give out the website and the contact phone number for those who might be interested. And then we'll talk a little bit more, and we'll take a break for a few minutes after at 1:30 we'll take a break. And then we will come back and get a little bit more specific on some of the things that they can expect and who's attending. But for now, give us the contact information that someone would utilize to be in touch on the website, or where they go to register if there's an Eventbrite site, and phone number, please.
Yes, so registration is free for general admission, but we also have exhibitor tables available for a fee as well, and the sponsorship opportunities. And the website is FITCEexpo.com. So FITCE is the name of our event, FITCE, and the word expo.com. So expo starts with an E and FITCE ends with an E, right? So we're going to remove one E. So it's FITC, the word expo.com. And I'm going to repeat that slowly, FITC, the word expo.com. So people can go to that website and they can register right there for the event. And if they want to become a volunteer, as you mentioned, volunteer or interning with us, they get a nice certificate after. They can look at under contact information. There's my email address and my phone number, and they can contact me directly, and I can have them involved in the event, which is a really great opportunity to meet so many people and high-level contacts to all over the world.
So again, it's FITCEXPO.com. FITCEXPO.com. I remember when I bought that website. It's easy to remember. Yeah. So that's how someone would be able to get in touch with Paula. Give us an email address also if they want to email you. And
Paula. Email address. So my name is Paula, starting with P, and it's P Isaac. So PISAAC @Broward.org.
Repeat it again for me slowly.
It's P as in Paula. Isaac is spelled ISAAC @Broward.org.
Okay. So Paula, this is now what, the 8th year or 9th year that we're in?
The 8th year already.
The 8th year, 8 years. Wow.
You've created this event, which has grown so successfully, from 200 to 2,000 people now attending, and even more this year.
Yes. So FITCEexpo.com is where you go to get information. So part of what we do is we engage the consulates from around the world. We engage the ambassadors from around the world. So you might even be able to get to come out and meet your consulate general or your ambassador. We have leaders from around the world, presidents, former president, vice president, ministers of government that will be in attendance at this event. And I know that it's the week just before Carnival. So it's a week of Carnival, actually. It's October 4th and 5th. And that's a Wednesday and a Thursday. And then on Saturday, Carnival starts. So if you have friends coming in for Carnival, invite them to FITCE and let them see Broward County. This is held at the convention center by Port Everglades. You mentioned earlier also, Paula, about the fact that Broward County owns the airport and the seaport. The Convention and Visitors Bureau is also under the county's domain. But I like to tell folks how powerful the South Florida region is. Broward sits in the middle of this 6 million plus metropolitan area, one of the 6 largest metropolitan area in the United States of America. 6 million plus people. We have Miami to the south, of course, Palm Beach to the north, And in combination, you have three international airports within an hour of each other, three deep water seaports within an hour of each other. So when it comes to logistics and connectivity to the rest of the world, there's no other place like this in the entire world. In addition to that, in South Florida, we speak almost 200 languages. That means everyone from around the world actually visits South Florida, visits Broward County to a great extent. The fact that we have this language connection is such a powerful thing. And Paula, by the way, I try to teach some folks a little Spanish on the radio here, even though my Spanish is not as good as yours, because I know you're practically fluent in Spanish. When we did our trip to Colombia, you were able to just basically act as though you're a native there. And to Costa Rica when we did that trade mission. So we are bringing the world to you through FITCE. Again, it's October 4th and 5th at Broward Convention Center, and FITCEXPO.com is where you go. Talk to your friends and neighbors about it. And we're going to come back on the other side. So if you haven't yet, reach out to your friends and neighbors. Go to WZPPradio.com, send them the link, WZPPradio.com, download the link and listen wherever you are. In addition to the fact that we are at 92.7 in Fort Lauderdale, 96.1 in Miami, 1590 in Tampa. Like we talk money. We'll come back after this break coming up.
Don't let it erase the smile from your face. Make we talk, people. Make we talk. Conversation is the key, a guiding light for you and me. Spark a talk, you will
listening
see.
to WZOK 92.7 LP FM.
World leaders, master.
We're not the airlines, but we can take you to the islands every Sunday at Island Vibe Sunday at Blue Martini and the Galleria Mall. Enjoy happy hour from 4 p.m. until 7 p.m. Enjoy live reggae music with the vision.
What a way PNP is sweet.
The PNP can be seen as a more vibrant party than the Jamaica Labour Party.
Andrew's a nice boy, but he's not a leader.
Make up on the mind. Work has to be done. It's not going to just happen so. We have to make sure that every comrade who voted for the People's National Party in 2011 and delivered the victory, if they're still alive, they have to go vote for Comrade Patrick Peter King when the election call. And even some who are not alive, you know, if them can deal with it, no problem. Because as them say, we name Power Party.
Within the first 100 days of our government, we will start the legislative process to institute, and I want you to listen to me carefully, impeachment proceedings in Parliament. This will add another layer of protection of the Parliament to ensure that only members of unquestioned integrity sit in the Parliament.
That is the difference between them and us.
Few will continue to plunder poor people's money because we will have to continue to live with the rampant corruption that has characterized this government, of which the Prime Minister has been a part from beginning till now.
Michael Manley, more than anyone else since Marcus Mozart-Garvey, must be credited for raising the political consciousness of the Jamaican people and motivating them to political action. He was a man who refused to accept things as they were and was unapologetic in his pursuit of change. His concern for the welfare of Jamaica led him to an appreciation of the intricate international economic and political relationships and the way in which they impacted on Jamaica's fortunes. His untiring efforts to change those relationships earned him international recognition and made his an authoritative voice in important councils around the globe.
The recent revelation of the Andrew Holness-led government's decision to impose a gag order on cabinet ministers and government lawmakers from commenting on matters related to the Integrity Commission and the identity of the 6 parliamentarians who are under investigation for illicit enrichment is both shocking and deeply concerning. The notion of creating a so-called cabinet policy to shield ministers from speaking the truth and to evade accountability is a glaring attempt to obstruct transparency and to evade responsibility among elected officials to the Jamaican people. The excuse that this policy is intended to preserve the confidentiality of cabinet deliberations is a misdirection from its true intent. In reality, it seems to be a political maneuver to shield parliamentarians from being held to account for their actions and potential wrongdoings. This is not the kind of leadership and governance that Jamaicans deserve. The very essence of democratic governance hinges on transparency, accountability, and the duty of elected officials to provide explanations to the people they serve. This so-called policy undermines these fundamental principles and erodes the trust between the government and its citizens. The People's National Party views this cabinet policy as a dangerous subversion of democratic values. It is an abuse of power at the highest level, and it contradicts the ideals of open and honest governance that the Jamaican people have a right to expect from their elected representatives. The PNP's stance is in stark contrast to this approach. We have taken the responsible step of voluntarily disclosing the status of all our parliamentarians with regard to the investigation by the Integrity Commission. This demonstrates our commitment to transparency and accountability. Jamaica is watching closely, and it is evident that we are not the same. One side of the aisle will go to great lengths to deceive the Jamaican public, while the other side seeks to uphold the values that underpin a healthy and functioning democracy. The signing of the Integrity Commission's Leadership Code of Conduct is another example of this. We call upon the government to reconsider their decision, to respect the principles of transparency and accountability, and to put the interests of the Jamaican people first. Our nation deserves leadership that is open, honest, and dedicated to serving the best interests of all citizens of Jamaica, land we love.
I also give the commitment that the 11 houses, structures that were destroyed, that they will be repaired. If the objectives of the terror
started.
GOP candidates standing in Milwaukee for the first debate. Donald Trump was a no-show.
We'll ask the questions. In their first 2024 debate, Republican presidential candidates faced off in Milwaukee.
Joe Biden's Bidenomics has led to the loss of $10,000 of spending power. We cannot sit by any longer and allow the kind of spending that's going on in Washington.
We need to send Joe Biden back to his basement and reverse American decline. But absent from the stage, the GOP frontrunner, former President Donald Trump, who skipped the event. If former President Trump is convicted in a court of law, would you still support him as your party's choice? Please raise your hand if you would. The debate is one day before the former commander-in-chief is set to be arrested, surrendered to the Fulton County Jail under a $200,000 bond agreement. One of 19 co-defendants indicted by a Georgia grand jury for alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election in the battleground state.
A man is charged in a gruesome attack in Brooklyn.
In this gruesome murder in Sunset Park, Brooklyn, police say a man used a hammer to bludgeon a mother to death, then used that same hammer and attacked her 2 children with it.
The 2 kids are actually in the hospital this morning. They are fighting for their lives. The suspect also in the hospital. He is undergoing a psychiatric evaluation, and we also have exclusive video of him being walked out of the 72nd precinct yesterday. Take a look. He was bruised and bandaged. He was put in an ambulance and taken to the hospital. Lee Yong-Ye is accused of beating the mother to death with a hammer and critically hurting her 2 kids inside of the 3-bedroom apartment on 52nd Street in Sunset Park. Investigators believe he also lived in that apartment. Now, authorities say this is the hammer Ye used to attack 43-year-old Zhao Zhao, her 5-year-old boy and 3-year-old girl. Ye has been charged with murder, 2 counts of attempted murder, 2 counts of assault, and 2 counts of criminal possession of a weapon. He has.
I am Jeffrey Tavares on WZBP and WZOP News.
For more info, hit us up at WZBPradio.com. It's Old School Throwback Thursdays on WZOP, WZPP Radio.
My people, make we talk.
Welcome back to the Make We Talk program. Today we have with us former Broward County Mayor Dale Holness. Mr. Holness, over to you.
We're talking money as usual. I'm here on Thursdays and Fridays talking money. We have on the line with us Miss Paula Barrera. Isaac Barrera. I usually get it confused, Paula. Forgive me. After all these years, I should know the right order.
No.
Barrera Isaac. So Paula. Yeah. We were talking earlier about the Florida's International Trade and Cultural Expo, and trade is trillions of dollars that circulate around the world. America oftentimes have an imbalance of trade, especially with China. With Latin America and the Caribbean, we usually have a surplus, which is a good thing from where we stand. But we want to do more of this, especially within the region. So we have FITCE, and within FITCE, you do the 7 steps to export. I want you to talk a little bit about what those 7 steps entails, and also when you're through with that, we're going to talk about some of the high level delegation that we expect to have. Go ahead, Paula.
Okay, great. Yes, it's the 11 steps.
11 steps, yes.
7, but 7 is a magic number. So,
That's
but it's actually 11 steps.
Yes.
11 steps to exporting. That basically what happens is a lot of time when people are, they're busy in the day-to-day trying to make it in the domestic market. We've had challenges, just the pandemic due to economical crisis, and people find it a bit scary or daunting to go to international markets. And some have never exported, and they say, "Oh, this is looks like a mountain in front of me. What do I do? Where do I start?" So we decided to break it down in 11 steps, where we do a seminar that we recently have hosted online with a SCORE, which is also another resource in our community. We have many organizations that the county partners with, such as SCORE, CDC, SBA, and SCORE has hosted us for a virtual webinar in July. So sometimes we do it virtually and sometimes we do it in person. And definitely with the contacts I shared earlier, anybody can send me their email and I can put them in our database to receive our yearly calendar that we also advertise on our website. Because in addition to FITCE, I organize yearly workshops and seminars, which the 11 steps is part of. So definitely it's a good way to get started if you're looking to get into exporting, but you're not sure and you feel a little bit like it could be daunting. We try to make it easier for you.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about some of those steps. What just briefly. We have about 15 minutes left on the program.
Yeah. So briefly, and also I want to talk about what you asked before, some of the key international
Yes.
guests coming in today. But briefly about the 11 steps is really about learning about logistics, regulations, what are the tools, where do I look for international opportunities, how do I do an export plan, where do I find export financing. So those are some of the steps, and we covered that in our program. Now, in terms of FITCE for the international guests, we bring from high-level governments to other governments to business delegations. So last year we had the Vice President of Honduras that came. We had former presidents from Latin America that we bring every year with the assistance of the Global Peace Foundation, the Latin American Presidential Mission. And we also bring ministers and governors and mayors from 60 countries, or if they cannot come, then there's their consul general or the ambassador in Washington, D.C., who speaks officially on what are the best export opportunities and investment opportunities to their country. So,
But in addition to those elected officials and high-level folks, we also have business people that come from these countries also that are looking to do business here. So there's a connecting point. So talk a little bit about that. I know last year we had a large number of Africans here from different African countries. Go ahead.
So we have a World Expo which has about 300 exhibitors, local businesses and international businesses. And that's where you really do the networking, the buying and selling. It's called Networking at the World Expo for Buying and Selling. So we host that during the conference. It's going on throughout the 2 days. So if you choose to listen to some of the sessions with the panels I mentioned, doing business with the world, if even 11 steps is going to be at the event, and how to import and all these things, you can go in the presentation room. But in the expo room, that's where the business is going on. So if you're an exhibitor, you get a lot of people that want to come and meet with you, do business. And so it's a great opportunity to become an exhibitor. And we also have a matchmaking activity, which is called the speed matchmaking with the country, where it's a little bit like speed dating, and you're going to meet with Bahamas, and you're going to go to Italy. So you're going around the world and meeting with the country representatives one-on-one. And last but not least, we have American buyers panel, which we're also going to include international buyers now. But they're big buyers. In the past, we had Walmart, we had the government buyers, the public schools, the hospitals. So it's multi-sectorial. Any industry you're in, we're looking to find new opportunities. But this year, we have some new special elements. We introduced a new activity, which is a special session on life sciences, technology, and innovation, which are going to happen on the second floor with some special concurrent sessions. So, but regardless, this is for all sectors, and it doesn't matter if you're a small business, micro business, new business, or an established business. You will find opportunities there.
So I know that the expo section will be closing out soon. So if you're in business and you want to connect, let me give you a chance again, Paula, to give the website and the email address if someone wants to engage.
Most definitely. The website is, so as I was mentioning before, our event is called FITCE, FITCE. So that's how the website starts, FITCE. We remove the E to put the word expo.com. So it's FITCEXPO.com. So it sounds like FITCE Expo, but remember, don't put two E's, one E. So that's the website. And then my email address is my first name is Paula. So first letter is P, and then Isaac, ISAAC at Broward.org. So P Isaac at Broward.org. And Isaac has two A's and one C and one S.
That's great. So I know that in that room where the expo is, where the tables are and all the people are connecting, there's folks coming, they leave with opportunities. If someone is coming here to probably sell goods, there's a place for you to interface. Maybe you can partner with them to do so. If someone's from a country that's looking to import, you can meet directly with the folks right there in that room. And we also have a fashion show that we've put together each time and some cultural part of it. That's why it's Florida's International Trade and Cultural Expo. We want to make sure that that connection is there. And you talked early about in many countries, you have to build a relationship. You got to get to understand the people and the culture. In America, we go hard for the sale. We just say, I got the best price, the best goods, and we can deliver the best service. In other countries, you have to really get to know someone first before they do business with you. So you got to talk about their culture, you got to talk about the family, you got to talk about what they like, what they don't like. It is building a relationship. And that's what FITCE is there for us to make the connection, build the relationships for the opportunities to come and be a part of it. Now, Paula, tell us about some of the folks we're expecting to have this year from the different countries, the individuals that we expect to have.
Yeah. So we're going to have, let's say for the Caribbean, we have a Minister of Health coming from Belize. We have some other ministers and mayors coming from, we're going to have Martinique, Bahamas, St. Lucia, Barbados, Guyana, Suriname. We're going to have businesses coming from Trinidad and Tobago as well, Dominican Republic, Haiti. We got the mayor of the capital, Port-au-Prince. So we're going to have a great representation from the Caribbean, both on the business side with the Caribbean panel and also on the cultural side. We're hoping to get some performers from Carnival that you're mentioning before come and perform at FITCE as well.
And I know from Jamaica, we usually have representation from there also.
Oh, in Jamaica, for sure, yeah, Jam Pro, and we're trying to bring again Minister Albert Hill, the Minister of Commerce. So hopefully we're still in the midst of confirming some of these speakers, but nevertheless, they're all informed and invited, and most of them are confirmed. And then we have Latin America, which is, again, a second big group coming. So we have a big delegation coming from various places in Ecuador. We have an Argentina delegation coming, from Chile as well, from Colombia. And those are businesses coming, but also like some of these countries are bringing elected officials, like Colombia is looking to bring the Vice Minister of Sports and some mayors from Colombia. And then some of these countries are bringing also some officials. But the businesses is really where you get to engage with them and do business. Also with government, because they're doing big projects in their country. So, and then we have also high-level officials coming from Central America. That's usually where we have our presidential delegation, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, these countries there that are participating from Central America. Panama this year, looking to bring a delegation. So a great representation from as well South Central Latin America. Then we're going to have also representation from Canada. Our official airline this year is Air Canada. So we're going on a Canada trade mission in September, and we're bringing back with us Canadian companies that want to do business with us as well, very solid companies. And then we're going to have people coming from Europe and Africa. Africa, as you mentioned before, is a big delegation coming from Africa. So we have people coming from Senegal, Democratic Republic of Congo. In Nigeria, have the Emir of Borgu coming from Nigeria, which is a very high-level representation from Nigeria. We have the Minister of Transportation and Aerospace from Nigeria. From Ghana, we have a lot of representation from the traditional areas and from the local government. And we're going to have people coming from other African countries as well that are be represented. So we're very excited. It's all going to be on our website. We're actually updating it now. You can see some of our countries from last year, but very soon we're going to put the new countries that are confirmed and the new program as well with the detailed speakers who will be there and who you can meet at the event. So Europe as well and Asia as well are coming with some great guests this year. And we're going to have as well some surprises in terms of entertainment, celebrities that we can't announce right now, but we'll have some great surprises at the event. And so we're very excited also about the cultural part, which you mentioned is important, that we learn about other cultures. We're going to have this year a special cultural immersion right before the reception that night, where you can learn about how indigenous groups from Ghana, from Ecuador, from Nepal are making artifacts and artisanry and beautiful things that we appreciate from their cultures, and more cultural performances as well, and also a cultural art exhibit hosted by the Cultural Division. So a lot of exciting activity. And this year, for the first time, we're going to have a country pavilion, the Italian Dream Pavilion, which is going to be on the third floor concourse. And for the first time, we're going to actually build a pavilion as a mock-up for countries in the future to have more pavilions. And there are going to be a lot of companies coming from Italy, including Anna Fendi, the creator of Fendi. So we're very excited.
So this is really something big, and you and I have been on several trade missions, Costa Rica, Colombia. We were in Ghana. We did India. We were in Israel. We were in Dubai, and when we went to India for Vibrant Gujarat, we actually ended going over to the cricket stadium. In India, a huge cricket stadium, and we have cricket. We talked earlier before when we spoke before you came on about cricket, and I'm pleased to let you know there's huge cricket going on right now. And those of you who are out there who have not gone over to enjoy these cricket games, you ought to. When I started on the pathway to help with this cricket development, I wasn't even elected yet. Okay, and yeah, we were able to convince Broward County to build the stadium through
same stadium there now.
Same stadium through a petition drive. I led that petition drive in 2002.
Wow.
Yeah, 2002. So it's 21 years now. 21 years now that we started on this pathway. In fact, it was before I got elected to Lauderdale Commission. I got elected in 2004. When I got elected, we were trying to get some of the World Cup games for 2007, and because we're making a big investment, almost $100 million to put that stadium together. We got a lot of support from the Caribbean community, especially, but there are some who says, well, we're building cricket stadium. What's that anyway? Now, look at what's going on. The economic impact from this week's games will be over $30 million. There's a lot of people out there working, security, food, and so much. So Paula and I were there in India to look at how we expand this as a part of our mission there. And Jeff Miller was with us also. So part of what is happening now is a result of that, by the way.
Result of your hard work, Holness.
Is a result of us, and even this group that's putting this game on. Basically, it's very, very strongly backed by the Indians.
Yes,
and if anyone knows and understands cricket and India, it is the sport in India. It's billions and billions of dollars, if not trillions of dollars, that the game provides for India's growth and development and exposure around the world. That's why they've become so dominant in the sports, beneficial to them. So we have this huge cricket game that's come in, Paula, thanks to you and your support. It's today through Sunday at the Broward County Stadium. It's 441 and Sunrise Boulevard. Sunday will be the final games. And it's exciting cricket, I'm told.
Yes.
If you haven't gone out,
you have the likes of Chris Gayle and other international cricketers out there.
Yeah, go out and mention you heard it on WZOP, WZPP, and you want to get your pass to go in, and you'll get a free pass to go in.
And also WZPP and WZOP is broadcasting live from there.
Exactly. So there are games there, and there's entertainment. Paula, I'm going to go ahead and have you say your wrap-up statement for FITCE. And the Office of Small Business and Economic Development does a lot more than FITCE. It helps small business resources and so much more. and there'll be representation there also at FITCE come the 4th and 5th of October. So go ahead, Paula, give your last message before we go away from the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. I just want to say, when we went to India, they knew where Lauderhill was because they have the cricket stadium. Someone working at the hotel, when I mentioned cricket, they're like, "Oh, Lauderhill," and I was like amazed because India is now the largest population in the world, and they know Lauderhill. So really, you have put the Lauderhill on the map with the cricket stadium. So I congratulate you. And sports is bringing economic development. But just to wrap up, our office has so many services and assistance. It's your taxpayers' money, so might as well take advantage of it. Start where you can learn about all these services and where you can learn more and meet people from all over the world. You don't have to take a plane and travel to 60 countries. Is really at FITCE, and that's where everybody should be as a starting point. So if you've never been to our office, would like to learn more, would like to know what are the resources for you out there, how you can make more money with selling all over the world, then really make it a point to come to FITCE, because it is a free event open to the community. We're expecting 2,000 people at the Broward County Convention Center, October 4 and 5. Please make sure to register on the website. But if you would like to have extra exposure, it's worth it. An exhibitor table is just $200 for the 2 days. So please get an exhibitor table. And if you want even more exposure, we do have sponsorship packages. And I want to recognize that, without our sponsor, we couldn't make that available to the community. And this year we have great sponsors again coming back, and we're going to announce them soon. So we're very excited, and just want to thank you all for having me on the show and being able to promote FITCE. And thank you for creating FITCE.
FITCEexpo.com, FITCEXPO.com. Go there, register. Tell your friends and neighbors about it. Merci un peu, Paula. Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
92.7 LP FM. We're not the airlines, but we can take you to the islands every Sunday at Island Vibe Sunday at Blue Martini and the Gallery.